Uh, I want to describe a strategy here that people use. I'll call it little doggin. Little doggin is it's when you intentionally. All right, here's a great example of little doggin. Say a chick, like let's say a decent looking chick, doesn't have no weight issues. Got some pretty straight teeth and nice hair and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Just say regular chick, because I don't want to. Everyone's idea of beautiful or pleasant is different, but whatever. I've seen this done many times, man, and it's like basically little dogging is it's when you intentionally have like let's say a decent looking chick intentionally hangs out with the uglier, heavier chick to make herself look skinnier and better and more attractive. And since these people normally look, people that have an issue, insecurities, will, it's like in a way, since they're so hurt, they will always give reward or like nice speech and agree basically with the person that's basically freaking using them. You know what I'm saying? As a way, it's like, look, it's a contrast. It's like, look at her and look how nasty she is. Now look at me, how great I look. You know what I'm saying? Or look at her, man. Look how skinny I am. You know what I'm saying? Or it's the same thing. It's also, it's like you're comparing yourself against the worst people to make yourself look good. You know what I'm saying? In a way, you'll be like, well, at least I ain't them. And that's your validation in case a person doesn't. Normally people who do that are struggling with narcissism. So it's like they need what it is. A narcissist, what they always need is attention, and they need someone who will agree with the things that they think. And a lot of times it's like the way they think ain't right. So the things you're agreeing with, in a way, they can feel like, look, I'm not condemned because, well, these people believe me. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing. They seed their environment in a way with people with problems, so that in a way it's a deflection from their own problems, and they can always constantly nitpick, henpeck everyone else who it's out in the open that they have issues, but this person really has the issue and they're deflecting it by, you'll never get to their issue because they're so busy leading you towards everyone else's like this, like they mystify you. It's like they're coming in from every direction, flying around, and they're constantly jockeying and they're reading you, and they're gauging your responses. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking, do you agree or disagree? You know what I'm saying? It's like and they love to get situations where they know that they're right, and in a way it's like a baited, loaded question where like they ask the question to bring about the answer because they know at that opportune moment how it's going to turn out. And then that gives them a chance to be like, they get to throw a fit. Like, how come everyone else around me sees how good I am and how beautiful I am and how great of a person I am? It's because they surround themselves with people that are like people that they feel are inferior to them, or not. They're not as enlightened. They're not as they haven't had a good career. They weren't career oriented, or whatever. There's many ways this thing. It's like, in a way, it's like an alcoholic saying all them crackheads need to die. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it's kind of like one of those situations where it's like, it's kind of hypocritical. You know what I'm saying? In a way, they should be able to understand addiction. You know what I'm saying? So it should make people more sympathetic to other people who have suffered from that. as opposed to saying, "Oh, all crackheads need to die." You know what I'm saying? In a way, it's like, well, at least I'm not that. You know what I'm saying? In a way, that's their backup. That's it's in a way, it's almost like it's like on that movie Lord of the Rings, how they ran away and there was Helm's Deep was the last. It was like an Alamo fort. Like they run away, but they like hidden behind some bushes. There is a giant stronghold fortress, and it looks like they're just running into the bushes. Then you go follow, and you get past the what was obstructing your view, and you see there's a giant like one of those Mayan temples out there, and it's a big giant stronghold. And this person, in a way, wanted you to chase them to their stronghold, so now they got superior advantage. And it's it's tactical. It wasn't just coincidence. They're not just doing it as a defense mechanism. It's actually passive aggressive, which means it's an attack strategy. It's not a defensive thing. Overly defensive and passive aggressiveness, it's really less passive, and it's more like straight up over aggression. They just do it passively, so it doesn't appear that they're raging, or it's not so blatantly obvious. And it's not necessarily, you and them might know what's going on exactly, but what it is the audience. See, the narcissist always has to wear their mask because it's for the people watching. It's like eventually that's how you start to expose them, is they it's in a way, it's like the white lie. The more these white lie threads you spin, eventually they start turning black lies that there's no way you can, there's nothing, there's no defense, there's no strategy, no diversion tactics left for you to use. And I mean, as painful it is confronting this monster that's in people of this narcissism, but now that it's exposed, man, it's like a lot of it thwarts so much once you're aware of it. It's like once you realize that's not a sheep over there, that's a wolf dressed as a sheep. Now you can put up a good defense, man. You can get the sheepdogs out there, and you know what I'm saying, and get some go smoke the wolf. It's time to go get a wolf rug. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get me a new wolf rug today. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, in a way, man, it's like that little doggin, in a way, is like it's intentionally seeking out like misfits, in a way, rejects, and pretending like you accept them. But in all actuality, you just know how easy it is to control them and manipulate them because they're rejected. So all you do is feed that insecurity with a false sense of security. Like, you can trust in me, you can confide in me, I'm just like you. But really, no, you're not. What it is like when we're together, you're friends, but when we're in public, you put on a persona that's not you genuinely in private when no one's watching. So if who you are in private doesn't line up with public, I mean, listen, they ain't gotta like perfectly line up, because look, there is a difference between public life, private life. In your private life, you don't have to be so courteous and paying attention to all because there's no one really watching. You don't have to be as on your game. So you in a way, you let your hair down, and you basically be yourself because no one's watching. You know what I'm saying? But in public now, if you're still yourself and people are watching or nobody's watching, you don't even really too much care. But a narcissist is always watching and projecting. And what it is when you project, what good is a projecting if no one catches it? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. That's the reason why you're waiting for a response, is because you're projecting something covertly, or at least it could be covert, but it might be obvious, but just some people ain't looking. You know what I'm saying? And once again, that's how they can zero in on people, is by who sees the basically it's like the Wizard of Oz. Who sees this big floating head here that's going, I'm the Wizard of Oz. Does anyone notice that this is me behind the curtain? You know, and that's even it. It's like it could look like, you know what I'm saying? See, when you play with that, where you are double-minded, or you're two-faced is another way they could say it, or you have partiality, or you're also hypocrite. I mean, that's, you don't want to be, you don't want to be a practicing hypocrite. Uh, it's it's always, man. It's just they can't never be straightforward, because I mean, in a way too, it's like, look, in a way, it almost is like disassociation, or DID, dissociative identity disorder, or borderline personality. Because what it is, man, it's like literally when you have the public face, which is fake, and it's all a presentation, like you're it's like every conversation is like you're filling out your application. This is my name, my age, this is what I've done for a living, this is who I am, this is who I am. It's like, why can't you just be? Why do you have to project so much out there, present so much for people right off Jump Street? Here's the thing, I ain't hide nothing. It's all out there for you to find. It doesn't need to be constantly rehashed out. You know what I'm saying? If you're comfortable with yourself. But if you're selling yourself now, like you're selling yourself like stock, you know what I'm saying? You got to present that image. You can't never just be yourself and be content. You know what I'm saying? Or you always got to go and find people who are you perceive to be lower than you, or worse off, or they're bigger F-ups than you in a way. They're such F-ups that it makes me feel like I'm somehow morally superior. But it doesn't really make you morally superior. You know what I'm saying? It just makes you surrounded by, and the thing of it is, you know, that their choice chosen sometimes to be the bad guy, or to be the scapegoat. There's a thing. Or yeah, you need an Osama in your life. You know what I'm saying? You need someone to blame. You need an ISIS a threat. You know what I'm saying? So you can be the hero. It's another form of problem, reaction, solution as well. And it's quite sad, you know what I'm saying, that a person is so really insecure that in a lot of cases they are better off than a lot of these people. But yet they have to go through more dancing and song and dance and games and selling themselves like than the other person does. The other person, they're already humbled. They're already kind of broke. So it kind of helps not get your head puffed up and get narcissistic. But, and sometimes even that can be narcissistic. And I understand that. Because what it is see, the thing of it is that the narcissist was victimized. And it literally is like the werewolf, that once he's bit, then whoever he bites turns into a werewolf too. And that's kind of what they do. It's like the victim becomes the victimizer, and therefore in the victimization process creates a new victim that's going to go and have these same struggles, or might not go the same way as them, but it's going to have an impact on their life in a negative fashion for the most part. Unless, you know, listen, I didn't know about none of these things before, but yet how important is just a little bit of this information, and how far it can go, and how much it applies, and how much light it sheds on the reason why people do what they do, and why it seems so strange when you're unaware of what's really going on. But yet then after you get, once you see it, it's like now you go back through your mind, and it's like it was there all along. And it's kind of that's the most revealing part. It's been there all along. And how come I never was aware of it? If I'm so perceptive and smart, how come I didn't know none of this stuff before? Well, until you know what I'm saying? It's like, in a way, it's by having someone fighting with you, it ups your skills of dealing with people. It's not necessarily battling, but sometimes it's like it is kind of like a battle. And what it is they're gonna throw everything they got at you, and it's gonna give you a good way to, like, a lot of that stuff is just gonna bounce right off you. It's not even gonna stick because it's just illusionary. You know what I'm saying? And they're boogeyman Osama monsters that this victimizer put in your head. And once you pull off their mask, man, it's literally like the Wizard of Oz.